Hey guys, this is JJ with Express Workshops, and this week I want to do a retouch on this old photograph that I found. This is a photograph of myself when I was in the 4th grade. Look how cute, look at those big ears. I thought, you know what, this would be a good opportunity to show what you could do. Now this was a scanned photograph, and as you can see, there's a lot of things in here that we could work on. I'll get in closer here. There's lots of little fibers here. It looks like that was stuck to the original. Little speckles everywhere. It's discolored. Some fading here on this side. So there's some things that we can do. And what I decided that I was going to do with this video is just kind of off the cuff, just kind of look at things and figure out what I want to do with it. I don't have anything pre-planned, so hope it all goes okay. Anyway, all right, first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and make a copy of this background so that we can kind of see at the end where, how far we've come with it. So I'm going to Control J, and that makes a copy over here in the layers palette of that. So I've got layer on the top, layer on the bottom. And then just kind of I want to assess the whole situation. Usually with a retouch, I just kind of get the biggest, most obvious things out of the way, and then I work my way into the detail. So the first thing that I can see here is that we've just really got some discoloration. The color cast is off. Doesn't seem to be very much contrast in there. So I'm going to work on that first, and I think the best way to handle that is to use a curves adjustment layers. Now in the curve dialog box here, we have this sample, we have these different ways of sampling things. And if I've got something here that I know is white, like I know this edge on this photograph should be white. So I can go ahead, and this is the white point sampler. And if I click on that, then you can see that changes the color cast inside the photograph. Now that's for the white, and I always like to go in and try to find a black. Now that's sometimes kind of hard to do, but I always look for the eyes, the pupil there, and I go with the opposite. I go with the black, and I take a chance and click on where I think it should be. And actually it looks like we got by with it pretty good. So just with that adjustment, let's go back to our layers palette. You can see when I turn this off and on, we've actually got a pretty good color change in there. Gave us a little bit of contrast, changed the colors a little bit. I am going to go a little bit further. This background here, so I remembered this very vivid blue when I was a child. No, actually I didn't, but anyway, I think I want to go ahead and make that background a little more blue. So I'm going to go ahead and just use another curves adjustment on top of there. And I'm going to go into the RGB, and I'm going to pick the blue channel, and I'll use this little finger scrubby here. And I'm going to click on just the area that I want bluer, or the tone that I want bluer. And if I click and drag up, that's going to increase that blue. So right about there is good. Now, as you can see, it did go ahead and color cast the rest of the photograph, but that's okay, because remember, whenever you do an adjustment layer, you do get a layer mask on top of there. So if I click on that layer mask and then Control I to invert that mask, it gets rid of that, it hides that adjustment. And then I can go in with my brush, and with white on top of the black mask, I can go ahead and paint back in the part of the mask that I wanted. So I've got this really cool blue color. It just kind of brings it a little more saturated than what the picture was giving me. Photographs tend to lose their saturation with sunlight, and just actually probably just the simple chemicals breaking down in the photograph. So I'm bringing some of that vibrance back in there, and I'm just using a soft brush on that layer mask and painting in that area. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so now let me just kind of look around. And I'm using my Wacom tablet, but you can hold the space bar and just drag around different places, and you can check out this place or that place and see how that works for you. All right, so I'm gonna look around, and when I get in a little closer, I can see there's some scratches, some little fibers that looks like it's all over the photograph. And I think I'm gonna go the lazy way out. I'm actually gonna go and click on this top layer that I've got, not my adjustment layers, because my adjustment layers don't have any information on there except for the adjustment. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna go up to filter and noise and go to dust and scratches. And I'm gonna see if that will take care of it for me. Now, one of the things with using the dust and scratches adjustment is that you really want to lay off of the radius, because if I click the radius, you can see that really makes everything blurry in a hurry. So really keep your radius down and go with your threshold, and you can kind of see in your preview here what it's taken care of for us. So I think that's going to be good enough. That'll take care of some of the things that I need there. All right, what else do I need to do? I can kind of see some of this discoloration here, a couple different places where I probably could just go in with the spot healing brush. And I'm staying on this layer. I'm going to go in there and just click on those areas that I find. Gotta be careful with creases like that. Sometimes you can get some weirdo stuff happening. I've got this long line. I'm gonna take a chance to try to do the whole thing. See, that's what happens. So I'm gonna Control Z, go back on that, maybe just do a little at a time, kind of click and click. This photograph, as you can see, does have some texture to it, and it's okay to preserve that texture. That's kind of the way the photograph was. I'll move around on here and see there's a little scratch there. You do something on the background. All right, and looks like I got a little zit here on my head. Maybe I can take care of that. All right, so I'm gonna back off just a little bit here, see if there's anything. Yeah, like some of these little dots in here, can use the same tool. Go in there, get rid of those. Don't have to be real exact. All right, that looks like there's some little rust stains down here on my shirt. Luckily, it's a patterned shirt, so I don't have to be real careful about that. And I think really that is pretty darn good. All right, so that looks good. I do have just a little red cast that I don't think I like, so I'm gonna go right back into another curves adjustment, and this time I'm gonna go to the red channel, click on my little hand scrubby, and I'm gonna find that red color, and I'm gonna pull it down just a little bit. All right, that seems right for me. All right, it looks like there's only one more thing that I need to do, and that is go ahead and crop. Make sure that everything's cleared out with my crop. I'm going to crop this border out here just so that I can get rid of some of those little fibers that were there on the end, just so I could be lazy and not have to really mess with those. And let me move this down a little bit, see where I'm at here. I like there, and I'm going to crop the top about there and say okay, and that looks pretty darn good. Okay, the only thing that I want to go ahead and maybe just do one more little thing is just a little vignette. I always seem to want a vignette. a photograph. But I'm going to click on a new layer here, and I'm going to go the lazy route. I'm going to push D on my keyboard. That's going to make my foreground color black, or the default colors. And I'm just going to fill it with black, the whole layer. And then I'm going to take my elliptical marquee tool, and I'm going to draw out. Now I can use my space bar here to size it or actually place it where I want. And I'm going to go right about there. I'm going to go up here to my refine edge tool, and I'm going to feather that crazy like that. And I think that's fine. I'm going to say OK. And now I always get this confused, so if I do it the wrong way the first time, then just ignore that. But I'm going to go ahead and push delete. Hey, I did it right. Sometimes I get it inverted and I do the background. All right. So I'm going to go Control D to get rid of the selection. And then since this is on its own layer, it's a little bit strong, I can go ahead. I'm going to take the opacity down to 0. I like to go to 0 and then just slowly bring it in until I say that's good enough. All right, so without that layer, that's before, that's after. All right, so let's see how far we've come. This is my finished product. I'm going to hold Alt, click on the lower layer so we can see what the original was like. That was before, and that's after. I think that's a pretty darn good retouch. Now, I didn't go in and make sure every little thing is taken care of, but you know what? To restore a photograph from, you know, 4th grade, so that whenever your parents look at it and brings a tear to their eye, then you've done what you need to do. Anyway, all right, thanks for looking at my video, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Thanks a lot.